Ladies and gentlemen, listen to me right now. This ain't the time for complaints. This ain't the moment for excuses. You see, life will hit you hard. It doesn't care about your background, your struggles, or your circumstances. But here's the truth, the grind don't care about how you feel. The world isn't waiting for you to catch up, and success sure ain't giving out participation trophies. Today, it's about making a decision. Will you sit back or will you stand up and say, no more excuses, no more waiting, no more I'll do it tomorrow. It's time to own everything, even the stuff that ain't fair. If you want to be great, if you want to win, then drop every excuse right now and let's get to work. Success doesn't care about your feelings. That's the hard truth, but it's also the truth that most people try to avoid. We live in a world where emotions are given so much weight, where people believe that if they don't feel like doing something, it's a valid reason not to do it. But success doesn't care whether you're tired, frustrated, or scared. It doesn't care if you're in a bad mood or if life has thrown you a curveball. It doesn't wait for you to feel ready. Success only responds to action, to effort, and to results. The people who achieve great things aren't always the ones who feel motivated or inspired every day. They are the ones who push through regardless of how they feel. They understand that emotions are fleeting and unreliable. One day you're pumped up and ready to conquer the world. The next day you don't even want to get out of bed. But the goal stays the same, and if you let your feelings dictate your actions, you'll never get where you want to go. Think about athletes training for a championship. They don't skip practice just because they're tired. They don't take days off because they're feeling down or because the weather isn't perfect. We all have bad days. There will be times when you don't feel like giving your best, when everything seems like too much, and quitting feels like the easier option. But success is achieved by those who learn how to keep moving forward, even on those days. It's tied to the work they put in day after day. You don't have to feel great to make progress. You just have to keep going. Businesses from the ground up. The problem with most people is that they only want to do the work when they feel good. Rejection after rejection. They wait for motivation to strike as if it's a magical force that will suddenly make everything easy. The first setback. But the successful ones keep going because they understand that success is about commitment, not convenience. It comes and goes, and if you rely on it, you'll never be consistent enough to achieve anything worthwhile. Successful people understand that showing up matters more than feeling good. They separate their emotions from their actions. It's not that they don't feel tired, stressed, or discouraged. At times they do. The difference is that they don't allow those feelings to dictate what they do. They know that success demands consistency, and consistency requires discipline. Discipline means doing what needs to be done. Life will never be free of challenges. There will always be obstacles, setbacks, and moments when things don't go your way. But those moments are not excuses to give up or take a break. They are opportunities to prove that you're serious about your goals. They are tests to see if you're willing to keep going, even when the odds are against you. People often talk about waiting for the right time or the right circumstances to pursue their dreams. But the truth is, there is no perfect time. There will always be reasons to postpone, always be feelings that tell you to wait. But if you want to succeed, you have to act in spite of those feelings. The road to success is uncomfortable. It will demand more from you than you think you can give at times. It will push you to your limits and then ask for even more. But that's the price you have to pay. Success isn't something that's handed out freely. It's something you have to earn through consistent effort, through doing the hard things, especially when you don't feel like it. And the harsh reality is that nobody else cares how you feel. The world isn't going to pause because you're having a rough day. Your competitors aren't going to slow down so you can catch up. If anything, they'll speed up, hoping that you'll stay stuck in your feelings long enough for them to get ahead. It's easy to make excuses when you're not feeling your best. It's easy to tell yourself that you'll try harder tomorrow or that you deserve a break today. But every time you give in to those excuses, you're creating a habit. They kept working when others gave up. That it's okay to quit when things get tough. That's what sets them apart. And the more you do that, the harder it becomes to stay consistent. They understand that success isn't about feeling good all the time. Success requires you to push past those excuses, even when it's hard. Train yourself to act regardless of how you feel. It's about showing up not just when it's easy, but especially when it's difficult. It's not about ignoring your emotions or pretending they don't exist. It's about not allowing them to control you. Feelings are just that feeling. There will be times they don't define who you are or what you're capable of achieving. But those are the moments that define you. Those are the moments that determine whether you will achieve your goals or fall short. Your feelings will try to convince you to take the easy way out, but the easy way never leads to greatness. Success doesn't reward those who take shortcuts or who only put in the effort when they feel like it. It rewards those who are willing to do the hard work day after day without excuses. It rewards those who are committed, not just when things are going well, but also when everything seems to be falling apart. You have to train yourself to show up no matter how you feel. You have to develop the mental toughness to keep going, even when every part of you wants to quit. The success is about resilience. It's about bouncing back from failures, overcoming obstacles, and continuing to move forward, even when it feels impossible. It's about building the kind of discipline that allows you to stay focused, no matter what life throws your way. And the truth is, you won't always feel like doing what needs to be done. There will be days when the last thing you want to do is put in the work. But those are the days that matter the most. Those are the days that separate those who succeed from those who don't. Excuses are the enemy of progress. They are the small justifications we tell ourselves to avoid discomfort, delay action, and stay within the boundaries of what feels safe. Every time you make an excuse, you are actively choosing to stall your growth. It's easy to say, I'll start tomorrow, I'm not ready yet, but the reality is that excuses create a false sense of security. They make you believe that you have all the time in the world, that conditions will somehow improve, and that progress can be made later. But the truth is, excuses are the #1 reason why people fail to achieve their goals. They disguise themselves as reasons, but they are nothing more than barriers you place between yourself and your potential. Excuses come in many forms. Sometimes they appear as fear of failure, fear of judgment, or fear of not being good enough. Other times they take the shape of procrastination, convincing you that the right time to act hasn't arrived. You tell yourself you need more information, more resources, or more time, but what you really need is action. Excuses thrive on inaction, and the more you feed them, the harder it becomes to break free from their grip. The longer you wait, the more comfortable you become in that waiting, and progress slips further and further out of reach. Progress requires a mindset that rejects excuses and embraces accountability. When you stop making excuses, you start taking control of your life. It means accepting that circumstances may not always be ideal, but moving forward anyway. Successful people aren't those who have fewer obstacles, they are those who find ways to overcome them. They understand that challenges are inevitable, but they refuse to let those challenges become excuses. They own their mistakes, learn from their setbacks, and take responsibility for their future. Every time you refuse to make an excuse, you're building momentum. Each small step forward, no matter how difficult, brings you closer to your goal. The problem with excuses is that they seem harmless at first. One excuse turns into another, and before you know it, days, weeks, or even years have passed without meaningful progress. Excuses allow you to stay within your comfort zone, but progress only happens when you step out of it. Growth is uncomfortable by nature. It demands effort, risk, and persistence. But it's in those moments of discomfort that transformation occurs. Excuses rob you of that transformation. They keep you locked in place, giving you the illusion of safety while slowly eroding your potential. Choosing progress over excuses requires discipline. It means showing up even when you don't feel like it. It means doing the hard things even when you'd rather take the easy way out. It's about understanding that success is built on consistent effort, not perfect conditions. The path to progress will always present obstacles, but your ability to push past those obstacles determines how far you'll go. When you stop making excuses, you stop giving yourself permission to quit. You start seeing challenges as opportunities to grow, and every step forward becomes a victory. Take ownership of every situation. That means no more blaming, no more finger pointing, and no more looking for someone or something to hold responsible for where you are in life. Ownership isn't just about accepting the good things you've done, it's about accepting the mistakes, the failures, and the shortcomings too. When you take ownership, you acknowledge that everything in your life, whether positive or negative, is connected to your actions or inactions. It's easy to give credit to external circumstances, bad luck, unfair situations, or the behavior of others, but relying on these explanations takes away your power. The moment you shift responsibility elsewhere, you hand over control, and when you don't control your life, you can't change it. Ownership means saying, this is on me even when things feel unfair or out of your control. Life won't always deal you the best cards, and not everything that happens will be your fault. But ownership isn't about assigning fault, it's about asking yourself, what can I do from here? You may not have chosen the challenges you face, but you can choose how to respond to them. Even when someone else's mistake affects you, you still have a choice in how you handle the situation. Taking ownership means you stop waiting for others to make things right or for the perfect conditions to appear. It means recognizing that your progress, your growth, and your future are in your hands, regardless of what anyone else does. When you take ownership, you stop being a victim of circumstance. A victim mentality says, this happened to me, so I can't succeed. An ownership mentality says, this happened, but I will find a way to succeed anyway. The truth is, setbacks, failures, and unfair events happen to everyone. The people who thrive are those who refuse to be defined by those events. They look at every situation, good or bad, and ask themselves what they can learn from it and how they can move forward. Ownership gives you the power to make that choice, to see obstacles as opportunities for growth rather than excuses to quit. Taking ownership also means being honest with yourself. It requires you to take a hard look at your actions, your habits, and your decisions. Are you really giving your best effort, or are you holding back and blaming circumstances for the results? Are you following through on your commitments, or are you making excuses to justify falling short? When you take ownership, you stop sugarcoating the truth. You recognize where you've gone wrong, not to beat yourself up, but to figure out how to do better next time. Ownership allows you to learn from your mistakes and avoid repeating them because you see them as part of your responsibility. It also means taking responsibility for your goals and dreams. If you want something, it's up to you to make it happen. Nobody else is going to do the work for you. People might help along the way, but at the end of the day, it's your dream and you are responsible for pursuing it. Taking ownership means you don't wait for the perfect opportunity or for someone to give you permission. It means taking action, even when the odds are against you, even when you feel unprepared. Ownership is about recognizing that the path forward might not be easy, but it's your path to walk. Whether you reach your destination or not depends on your willingness to keep moving forward, even when things get tough. Ownership is not just about the big decisions in life, it's also about the small, everyday choices that add up over time. It's easy to overlook the small moments, but they play a huge role in shaping your future. Every decision you make, whether to wake up early or hit snooze, to spend time working toward your goals or scroll through social media, either moves you closer to your dreams or further away from them. Taking ownership means recognizing that those small choices matter. It's about understanding that you can't control everything, but you can control how you respond and what actions you take. When you take ownership, you free yourself from the need for constant external validation. You no longer rely on others to tell you that you're doing well or to motivate you to keep going. You become your own source of motivation because you know that your success or failure depends entirely on what you do. Ownership means being accountable to yourself. It means setting your own standards and holding yourself to them, even when no one else is watching. It's easy to show up when there's recognition involved, but real ownership is about showing up for yourself, whether anyone notices or not. Taking ownership also builds resilience. Life will test you and things won't always go according to plan. But when you take responsibility for your life, setbacks don't feel like the end. They become part of the process. You stop seeing failure as a reason to quit and start seeing it as an opportunity to learn and grow. Ownership means understanding that progress isn't always a straight line. Sometimes you'll move forward, sometimes you'll take a step back, but as long as you stay accountable and keep pushing, you'll keep growing. It's about trusting that the process will lead you where you need to go, even if the journey takes longer than expected. Ownership also means letting go of blame. Blaming others might feel good in the moment, but it doesn't move you forward. It keeps you stuck, waiting for someone else to change or for circumstances to improve. When you take ownership, you stop waiting for those things. You realize that the only thing you can control is yourself, and that's enough. You take responsibility not just for your actions, but for your mindset and attitude. Even when things go wrong, you focus on what you can do next. You don't let frustration or disappointment control your actions because you know that staying focused on what you can control is the only way to move forward. Taking ownership also strengthens your relationships. When you take responsibility for your actions, you build trust with others. You become someone people can rely on because they know you won't make excuses or shift blame. You acknowledge your mistakes and work to correct them, which fosters respect and accountability in your personal and professional relationships. Ownership helps you communicate more effectively because you approach challenges with a solution-oriented mindset rather than looking for someone to blame. It allows you to collaborate with others while still taking responsibility for your part in the process. Ownership isn't easy. It takes courage to admit when you've made a mistake or fallen short. It takes discipline to stay accountable, even when things get difficult. But ownership is the foundation of growth. It's what allows you to learn from your experiences, make better choices, and keep moving forward no matter what. Discipline beats motivation every time. Motivation feels good. It's that burst of energy that gets you excited about starting something new. It's what makes you think, this time I'm really going to do it. But the problem with motivation is that it's fleeting. It shows up when things are exciting or fresh, but it disappears the moment things get hard or boring. If you rely solely on motivation, you'll only act when you feel like it, and that's not often enough to make real progress. Discipline, on the other hand, doesn't rely on how you feel. Discipline is the ability to stick with something even when you're tired, frustrated, or uninspired. It's what keeps you going when motivation is long gone. Discipline is dependable, while motivation is unpredictable. The people who succeed aren't the ones who always feel motivated. They are the ones who have developed the discipline to act even when they don't feel like it. Discipline is what gets you up early in the morning to work on your goals, even when the excitement is worn off. It's what pushes you to keep practicing, keep improving, and keep showing up, even when progress feels slow. Discipline is about consistency. Success isn't about doing something once or twice when you feel motivated. It's about showing up day after day, regardless of how you feel in the moment. Motivation can make starting easy, but discipline is what finishes the job. Think about it. Anyone can start something when they're excited, but not everyone has the discipline to see it through. That's why so many people set goals but never achieve them. They get excited, they start strong, but as soon as things get tough or life gets busy, they quit. Discipline is what bridges that gap. It's what helps you push through the discomfort, boredom, and setbacks that will inevitably arise along the way. When you're disciplined, you understand that progress is made through repeated effort, not occasional bursts of inspiration. Discipline also builds trust in yourself. When you make a commitment to show up every day, no matter what, you're sending yourself the message that you can be counted on. Over time, that consistency builds confidence. You start to believe in your ability to follow through even when things get difficult. That belief in yourself becomes a powerful force. It's not about being perfect every day. It's about knowing that you have the discipline to get back on track whenever you slip up. Motivation may inspire you to start, but discipline keeps you steady no matter how many detours you encounter. Developing discipline requires setting clear goals and creating systems to support those goals. It's not enough to rely on willpower alone because willpower, like motivation, can run out. Discipline is about building habits that make progress automatic. If your goal is to get fit, discipline is what gets you to the gym on the days when you'd rather stay in bed. It's about having a plan and sticking to it, even when it's inconvenient or difficult. The more disciplined you become, the less you rely on fleeting feelings. You don't wait to feel motivated because you've trained yourself to take action regardless of your mood. Discipline isn't glamorous and it isn't always fun. It often feels like hard work, and there will be days when you question whether it's worth it. But the truth is that success requires discipline, not comfort. Anyone can show up when things are easy, but discipline means showing up when it's hard. It's about doing what needs to be done, even when no one is watching and even when the rewards aren't immediate. Discipline teaches you patience because real progress takes time. You won't always see results right away, but if you stay disciplined, the results will come. Discipline allows you to stay focused on the process rather than getting distracted by temporary setbacks or the desire for instant gratification. One of the most important aspects of discipline is learning how to manage your time and priorities. Motivation can make you enthusiastic about starting multiple things at once, but discipline teaches you to focus on what matters most. It forces you to make choices about how you spend your time. Discipline means saying no to distractions and yes to the tasks that will bring you closer to your goals, even when those tasks aren't the most exciting. It's about understanding that every small action you take today builds toward a bigger result tomorrow. Discipline allows you to align your actions with your values and long-term objectives rather than being swayed by fleeting desires or impulses. Discipline also teaches you resilience. When things don't go as planned, motivation might abandon you, but discipline keeps you grounded. It helps you develop the mindset that failure is part of the process and not a reason to quit. With discipline, you understand that setbacks are temporary and that the only real failure is giving up. Discipline gives you the strength to persevere, to try again, and to keep moving forward, even when progress feels slow or invisible. It helps you stay focused on the long-term goal rather than getting discouraged by short-term challenges. In the process of developing discipline, you also become more self-aware. Discipline forces you to confront your habits and patterns. It reveals the areas where you tend to procrastinate, make excuses, or avoid discomfort. When you become aware of those tendencies, you can actively work to change them. Discipline is about mastering yourself, your impulses, your doubts, and your fears. It teaches you that you have the power to control your actions no matter how you feel in the moment. That sense of control is liberating because it means that your success is entirely within your hands. Discipline isn't something you're born with, it's something you develop through practice. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you strengthen that muscle. It might be hard at first, but with each small victory, it becomes easier. The more you practice discipline, the more natural it becomes to take action, even when motivation is absent. Over time, discipline becomes part of who you are. It becomes the foundation upon which you build your habits, routines, and ultimately your success. Failure is not the end, it's a necessary part of success. Many people fear failure, thinking that it's a sign they aren't good enough or that they've reached the limit of their abilities. But the truth is, failure is one of the most powerful teachers you will ever have. It's through failure that you learn the lessons necessary for growth. Success isn't a straight line, it's filled with setbacks, missteps, and moments of doubt. The people who succeed aren't the ones who avoid failure, they are the ones who embrace it, learn from it, and use it as fuel to move forward. Failure doesn't define you unless you let it. It's not an ending, but a stepping stone to something greater. When you fail, you're given an opportunity to reflect and adjust. Failure forces you to look at your actions, your strategies, and your mindset. It shows you what didn't work and gives you insight into how to do better next time. Each failure carries with it valuable lessons that you wouldn't learn if everything came easy. Success achieved without struggle doesn't provide the same depth of understanding or resilience. Failure makes you stronger because it teaches you how to navigate challenges, how to persevere when things don't go according to plan, and how to remain focused even when the road gets tough. One of the most important things to understand about failure is that it's not personal. Failing at something doesn't mean you are a failure. It simply means that the strategy you used didn't produce the desired result. This distinction is crucial because if you internalize failure, you risk believing that you aren't capable or worthy of success. But when you recognize that failure is part of the process, you can detach your self-worth from the outcome. You can see failure as a momentary event, not a defining characteristic. This shift in mindset allows you to approach challenges with curiosity rather than fear. Instead of avoiding failure, you start looking for ways to grow through it. Failure also helps you build resilience. Every time you fail and get back up, you prove to yourself that you're stronger than any setback. Resilience is what keeps you moving forward, even when the odds seem stacked against you. It's easy to keep going when everything is smooth, but real strength is built when you push through difficulties. Failure forces you to confront your limits and expand them. It teaches you that setbacks are temporary and that perseverance is what ultimately leads to success. Resilient people aren't immune to failure, they just refuse to let it stop them. They understand that every setback is an opportunity to grow stronger. Another key lesson that failure teaches is humility. When things don't go as planned, it's a reminder that there is always more to learn. Failure keeps you grounded and open to new ideas and perspectives.
It forces you to reevaluate your assumptions and strategies. The most successful people aren't the ones who think they have all the answers. They are the ones who remain curious and willing to learn, even when things go wrong.
Failure humbles you, but it also empowers you because it gives you a clearer sense of what you need to improve. It helps you see your blind spots and areas for growth, making you more prepared for future challenges. Failure also builds character. How you respond to failure says a lot about who you are. Some people let failure defeat them, others use it as a catalyst for growth. When you choose to rise after falling, you demonstrate courage, determination, and integrity. These qualities are essential not just for success, but for living a meaningful life. Failure teaches you that your character is defined not by what happens to you, but by how you respond. It gives you the chance to prove to yourself that you have the strength to keep going, even when things get hard. Character isn't built in moments of comfort, it's forged in the fires of adversity. One of the most liberating things about embracing failure is that it frees you from the fear of judgment. Many people avoid taking risks because they are afraid of what others will think if they fail. But the truth is, everyone fails at some point. It's a universal experience. When you accept that failure is a natural part of the journey, you stop worrying about what others might say. You realize that the opinions of others don't define your worth or your potential. What matters is your willingness to try, to learn, and to grow. Fear of failure keeps many people stuck in their comfort zones, but embracing failure sets you free to pursue your dreams without hesitation. Failure also fosters innovation. Some of the greatest breakthroughs in history have come from people who failed repeatedly before finding success. Each failure provided new insights and ideas that eventually led to innovation. Failure forces you to think creatively and find new ways to approach problems. It encourages experimentation because when you stop fearing failure, you become more willing to try new things. Innovation requires a mindset that sees failure not as an obstacle, but as part of the creative process. When you embrace failure, you open yourself to possibilities you might never have discovered otherwise. Moreover, failure helps you develop empathy. When you've experienced failure firsthand, you become more understanding and compassionate toward others who are struggling. It teaches you that everyone faces challenges and that success isn't always as easy as it seems. This empathy strengthens your relationships because it allows you to connect with others on a deeper level. Failure reminds you that everyone is human, and it encourages you to offer support and encouragement to those who are going through difficult times. Empathy isn't just a personal quality, it's a leadership trait that helps you build strong connections and inspire others to persevere. Failure also encourages you to focus on the process rather than the outcome. When you're too focused on achieving a specific result, failure can feel devastating. But when you shift your focus to the process, you begin to see failure as part of the journey. You understand that success isn't just about reaching a destination, it's about who you become along the way. Each failure becomes a valuable experience that shapes your character, skills, and perspective. Focusing on the process helps you stay motivated even when the outcome isn't what you hope for. It reminds you that every step forward, no matter how small, brings you closer to your goals. Lastly, failure teaches patience. In a world that often emphasizes instant gratification, failure reminds you that meaningful success takes time. It's easy to get frustrated when things don't happen as quickly as you'd like, but failure forces you to slow down and trust the process. It helps you develop the patience to keep going, even when results aren't immediate. Patience doesn't mean sitting back and waiting, it means actively working toward your goals while trusting that progress will come in its own time. Failure teaches you to appreciate the journey and to find value in the effort, not just the outcome.